This week in Jamaica Now, TVJ reporter shoved by Prime Minister's bodyguards as Simpson Miller evades question about the reinstatement of Richard Azan. Long-awaited Vybz Kartel murder trial begins. Another group of Jamaicans refused entry to Trinidad. A local businessman weighs in. And teachers call for a march on the Education Ministry. The details of these and other stories coming up after the break.
The Gleaner's Food Month. Look. Save. Listen.
Power 106.
Log on. And participate. The Gleaner's Food Month, celebrating food in November.
I'm Damian Mitchell, and this is Jamaica Now. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller is facing more public pressure for her failure to address the media on critical issues. Concerns re-emerged on Thursday after TVJ reporter Vashon Brown was shoved by members of her security detail as he tried to question Mrs. Simpson Miller about the reinstatement of Richard Azan as Junior Transport and Works Minister. Mr. Azan had resigned amid public pressure after admitting that he sanctioned the illegal construction of shops at the Spalding's Market in Clarendon. The contracted general had accused him of corruption, but the Director of Public Prosecutions found nothing wrong in law with the actions of Mr. Azan. Following a function in Rosetown, Kingston on Thursday, the TVJ reporter attempted to get an explanation from the Prime Minister, but she refused to address the issue in detail.
Don't you push the microphone in like this. Don't do it. Listen to me now, young man. I've traveled the world.
Don't do it. No, she's talking to me. No, she's talking to me.
I have traveled the world. I've traveled the world. And let me tell you, from I've been minister till I'm Prime Minister, and the media internationally, not one have ever been rude to me. And they have always treated me with respect.
As the reporter pressed the Prime Minister, members of her security detail intervened, shoving him. Supreme Court Justice Paulette Williams is to rule on Monday on the application brought by a former leader of opposition business in the Senate, Arthur Williams, against the opposition leader Andrew Holness. Arthur Williams has filed an application in the Supreme Court seeking to block Mr. Holness from filling vacant opposition seats in the Senate. He is contending that his Senate resignation letter submitted to the Governor General by Mr. Holness is invalid because he had communicated to the JLP leader that he was not prepared to resign. Mr. Williams argues that the signed but undated resignation letter was among 7 written by opposition senators before being appointed last year. According to Mr. Williams, the letters were to be submitted only if any of the senators departed from the party's position for a referendum on the Caribbean Court of Justice. But Mr. Williams says Mr. Holness decided to use the letter for another reason. The resignation letter of Dr. Christopher Tufton was also submitted to the Governor General. And the development has sparked a flood of reaction on Twitter. At DP Ledford tweeted, "The JLP is imploding. Time for a new opposition party." And at Chuck Cameron said, "This could possibly cause all JLP senators to resign." The much-anticipated trial of dancehall entertainer Vybz Kartel got underway in the Home Circuit Court last week. Kartel and 4 other men are charged with the August 2011 murder of Clive Lizard Williams. The 5th co-accused, fashion designer Calvin Hay, was released at the start of the trial after the prosecution said they found no evidence against him. Forensic investigator has testified that he found what appeared to be blood stains at Kartel's home. And the prosecution is trying to prove that Kartel and his co-accused killed Williams because he had lost a weapon. Jamaicans have reacted with anger to news that yet another group of their countrymen was denied entry to Trinidad and Tobago. On Tuesday, 13 Jamaicans were detained by Trinidadian immigration authorities and repatriated the following day. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade has expressed concern that over the past several weeks, a significant number of Jamaicans have been returned home by immigration authorities who say that the Jamaicans are ineligible to land as bona fide visitors. The ministry says it continues to hold discussions with the relevant authorities in Trinidad and Tobago on the matter. Meanwhile, Jamaican businessman William Mahfood says the situation is now worrying. "We must put our foot down," Mr. Mahfood tweeted. "Our people eat their food and drink their drinks, but not good enough to go visit." Some teachers have called for a march on the Education Ministry to register their objections to sections of the proposed Jamaica Teaching Council bill. Immediate past president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Clayton Hall, says some parish groups have passed resolutions to petition the Education Minister to revise sections of the bill. However, Mr. Hall says no action is likely to take place before the JTA completes its consultations with members. Police Commissioner Owen Ellington has directed his divisional commanders to ensure that there is increased vigilance for firecrackers and other pyrotechnic items in the lead-up to the Christmas season. He says persons found trading in these items should be prosecuted and their goods confiscated where they fail to produce the required licenses. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and as we go, the images from Rosetown, Kingston, where the Prime Minister launched the water and sewer project and where her bodyguards shoved a reporter trying to question her.